Well, the climate is collapsing. Taylor Swift might be getting married in Madison Square Garden. We're here with Adrián Bono, who is experiencing the climate collapse from Madrid. We've got Lauren playing where in the world is Carmen Sandiego in New York, perhaps investigating this supposed Madison Square Garden wedding and the knee slap heard around the world. Welcome to America. You got this?
Of course.
I don't know.
You guys always got it. Come on.
I don't know.
I am very optimistic about this.
I feel like you have to be, though, because so much of what we do affects what happens in Spain.
Yes, 100%. I mean,
Ooh,
we
bubbles.
are not.
Which
we're
part?
What? Sorry.
I'd love to know what we're optimistic about. Are we optimistic about just overall, generally we got this, or like, are we hyper specific on certain things that we've got? Because I think that's a day by day moment for me overall. But if you feel optimistic, then that makes me feel optimistic.
I agree. I tend to follow very closely what happens on social media and the trends and what especially younger people are saying and posting on social media. And I have seen, even though times are still tough, and I believe that there are some groups that are going to keep getting worse or marching towards more conservatism. I do think that there is some hope because I'm starting to see people who are, especially young people, who are sort of like waking up to feeling that maybe everything they've been sold in the last few years and the conservative ideologies on government, capitalism, etc., they haven't really delivered on many of the things that they've seen. We're seeing it in Argentina, we're seeing it here in Spain, definitely in the US. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think that eventually we're going to get there.
I love it. I mean, we have no choice but to be optimistic. I feel like there's no point. I can't remember who I was having a conversation. Oh, Rachel Bidikofer and I were having a conversation on The Revolution with Mike Fanone, plug for that show. And we were talking about the use of joy in political movements and optimism. And she felt strongly that there may be a place for joy, but that we can't lead with joy. And I'm like, oh, no. We're fucking leading with joy, people, because otherwise, how do we deal with 40 degrees Celsius days in the spring? How do we deal with a vice president of the United States, soon to be presidential candidate, who has zero riz with his wife, his alleged wife, I'm going to say. Josh, can we run that clip?
That's right.
So
Today's
awkward.
special reader is my husband, Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance. Thanks for joining us today, honey.
Of course. Good to see you.
I heard somebody say, "May this love never find me." Like that, if somebody just slaps you on the knee quite like that is just, it is. I am curious how she's even gotten pregnant. But that's,
is she even? Is it a pregnancy pad like that movie with what's her name, the comedian? I don't know that she's really pregnant.
I need another coffee to remember that. But it is Melissa McCarthy. Yeah,
No, not Melissa McCarthy. The other blonde
I'm looking
actor. Was Melissa McCarthy also? Okay, we're going to have to research that.
I don't know.
We're covering the most important issues of the day, folks. So we're going to come to you with,
we really are. I wonder though, was she very close to upholstery and he was, had she been dressed in something that looked a little bit more like a couch, like if she was on a couch and not a chair, because we know the couch backstory, right? Like that, this is not a secret that he has a thing for couches. So maybe he would have been a little bit more affectionate if she was dressed.
Well, she was in the way. She was in the way.
I think that actually
there it is.
Probably, yes, in the way of
it was more of a scooch.
But obviously, like, this is an attempt to humanize two people who have the energy of almost android type robots. Like,
But
they're trying.
you get the opposite effect, because it feels extremely forced. There's nothing human about this. So my question is, why do they have to be so stiff all the time? Why is it that every time that they talk, they have to be this super kind of like hyper curated interaction where it doesn't really feel like a loving real couple at all? And I
have a
find
theory.
that very intriguing. Go for it.
Because they can't sleep at night. Like, we're always like, how do you sleep at night? They can't sleep at night. Thus, they are all very stiff.
Yeah.
Well, I am fascinated by Usha just in general because of her previous political affiliations. And then now I couldn't imagine what that must do to your body, your spirit, to be signed on to be a part of this sort of situation. If at one point you did have a reasonable political viewpoint, what's that pipeline?
Walk us through
How
it
do you
for
get
people
there?
who don't know. Walk us through it, because I don't know her journey.
She used to be a Democrat.
Wow.
Like, I wouldn't call her progressive, but she was a registered Democrat. And to go from that, they talked about at one point about how they respected each other's political opinions, even though they didn't agree. And then now to be an active participant in, and my definition of active participants would be, if you are complicit as this is happening, if you are supporting a partner as these horrific policies are unfolded, that feels just as, especially if you know better and you're not doing better and you're not using your voice, that feels like you're just allowing abuse to take place.
I agree.
So I just don't understand.
I don't think that you cannot be a bystander anymore. At this point, you have to pick a side, and it's to me, it's crystal clear, right? If you're not trying to combat the erosion of democracy that we're all seeing, not just in the United States, but all over the Western world, then that means that in some way you support it. It's simple as that.
Not to be the devil's advocate, because the devil obviously needs no advocate. We all know she can't get divorced right now. She can't file for divorce. People stay together for the kids all the time. So she's in a very awkward. They would probably try to. I shouldn't say that, but I feel like they would try to off this woman if she tried to leave him at this point. Like, it's a bad look for a presidential candidate, or soon to be presidential candidate, to have a tumultuous home life. So she's probably, everybody says that she's down for this, but I also think she's in a sort of, between a rock and a hard place, rock and fascism kind of situation.
But to get pregnant, I definitely hear what you're saying. I think that there's legitimacy to that being stuck element, and who knows what kind of prenup is involved. I mean, Melania, good Lord, like she's not enjoying her experience. So
Right.
Melania isn't. She shows that on her face. But for Usha to get pregnant, what sort of mental gymnastics? It's like she's doing gymnastics on that UFC monstrosity on the White House lawn. Like, you've just got to flip through it, and
we'll never come back from that. What was Adrian? What was the conversation like in Spain around the UFC fight night? Like,
oh my God. Well, look. I'm just gonna be very honest. I don't understand anything about UFC, of course. I just, like, my information about it was very political, but at the same time, I did have to read a little bit about it, because in case you didn't know, Ilia Topuria, who was the world champion, was Georgian/Spanish. So here in Spain, he is pretty well known because he became the world champion, I think, 2 years ago. He had been defending this championship for a while. And, he's here all over the news. I think he has a Netflix. No, it's a HBO TV special now here in Spain. So he's pretty big here. And I don't follow him, but I was surprised because he lost pretty badly in DC, and I don't know if you saw the photos, but apparently they broke both his cheekbones or like the eye sockets. I don't remember exactly what the name is for this area, but he couldn't
like the orbital bone.
Like the orbital bone. That's it. Thank you. He couldn't even see. He couldn't even open his eyes. I mean, he was really, really in bad shape. And a lot of people here in Spain seem to be very happy that he lost because he seems to be kind of like a loudmouth. So a lot of people were very conflicted about the fact that they didn't like what was happening in DC, and they thought that it was kind of like, idiocracy in real life. But at the same time, they were happy about the fact that Ilia Topuria had been stripped of his world championship title by this guy for being a loudmouth. So yeah, it was all over the news here, as you can imagine. People were making fun of the fact that it really did seem like some sort of circus had been set up in front of the White House. The media here follows what Trump does very closely, especially because we are now in the naughty list for Donald Trump. He actually 2 days ago he said once again that we are kind of like deadbeats because we've refused to pay everything we need to pay when it comes to NATO. So yeah, we covered Trump extensively here, and there was no positive press at all.
And yet he says we're loved abroad. We're so hot now.
Yes.
He also said he has the biggest crowd sizes ever, and that he does not have some ridiculously unhealthy BMI. But I have a question too. What is the I guess my question is, generally speaking, internationally, but for Spain and Maya with Portugal, what are we talking about with the perspective on Americans as a whole? Is it understood that there are many of us who are just as horrified and disgusted by what's taking place? Or are we kind of all lumped in with, yeah, you're a joke and it's a circus, and like, are we all?
She's like, do you hate us? Does everybody hate us? Is basically Lauren's question.
I'm still a people pleaser at heart. Like, I want to make sure.
Maya, want to take this one, and then I'll go with Spain. You can start with Lisbon.
I was gonna say, I'll just say, here in Portugal, I think people are, when they don't like something, you see protests in the street more often. There was just another general strike. I think it was the second one of the year, and they were able to defeat the labor package. And so they see direct action, and I think they're maybe looking at us going, so y'all, if you're not protesting, if you're not in the streets, do you really actually care? Are you going to do the work? And so it's not whether or not they like us or dislike us. I think it's more like, so you're just going to let this happen? You're just going to sit by and let your rights get taken away? So I think it's more of like a disbelief, and also a little bit of a disillusionment. I mean, everybody knows what America is, but I think a lot of people are now realizing what we're not. And that might mean we're not fighters unless it's on the White House lawn, I guess.
Right.
So when it comes to Spain, I think it's it depends on who you ask, and I think that there are several things that it's important to clarify. The first one is, I think everyone here, I would say, according to the latest polls, approval of or disapproval of Donald Trump in Spain is one of the highest in the world. I believe that it's close to like 70-80% of Spaniards think that Trump is not a good president. I believe that there was a recent poll that said that they feared Spaniards didn't trust Putin over Trump. So like they distrusted Trump over Putin. It's just, which is very, very, very high. And if you look at, when you read an article or if you go on social media, you will see that many people in Spain are asking, how did this guy get elected? What is going on in the US that this guy not only became president once, he became president twice, especially after what happened on January 6th. So yes, there's a lot of disbelief when it comes to electing Trump president. There's people here who are pro-Trump. You will see that. There's actually Vox, which is the far-right party. They're very close to Donald Trump. They love to hang out with Trump as much as they can, even though Trump doesn't even know what the name of the president of Vox is, the leader of Vox. His name is Santiago Abascal, and Donald Trump called him San Diego Obascal. So now everyone's like kind of like, whenever someone's trying to make fun of him, they call him that. Yes, you will. There's a youth organization here called Make Spain Great Again. Yep, it happens. There's always going to be people who are supporters of Donald Trump here in Spain. But I would say that mainly the Spanish population are very clear that the U.S. government is not the same as the entirety of its population. So people make a clear distinction between what the government is and what Americans are. If you find people who are criticizing people from the US, I will say that it's not about being from the US, but it's about being a foreigner. As you probably know, Spain is going through a very, very hard housing crisis right now. There's people cannot afford rent or to buy property no matter where, and foreigners are coming in droves now to buy property in Spain because it's cheaper and because the quality of life here is great. So that is creating some resentment with Spaniards. And sometimes you're going to see that. But it's not about where you come from. It's about the fact that you are the one that is helping gentrify Barcelona, etc. And you are the reason why some people are not able to buy property or afford rent. So I would say that if there's any animosity towards foreigners, it's not about just Americans. It's about people from all over.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, and I think that's reflective of what's happening here too. I think that if you go into local communities and you see that private equity is buying up real estate, and so local residents aren't able to afford property, and the gentrification process that happens in many cities, I think that there's that same sentiment here. And even with Airbnbs, that's becoming a thing. But that is a little refreshing to hear. I will say that one of the people that I know sort of in real life, I do you ever make vacation friends? Like you go on vacation and then you share social media
I don't
information.
even make like real life friends, Lauren. I keep to myself in day-to-day life and also on vacation. But go ahead.
I'm a friend collector, I think, and I make vacation friends when I'm on vacation. I will just randomly strike up conversations with people, and then by the end of it, we're exchanging information. So there was somebody who I met, a couple. They're from Madrid. They currently, I think, live in Chile, but we stayed in contact on Facebook and Instagram, and this gentleman was the most vocal of all of the pro-Trump people in my orbit. I mean, even of far surpassing the MAGA people in my life and my family. This person was very aggressively vocal, popping into most of my comment sections, sending me DMs in response to anything I would post. And he was nice about it. He would say, I think you're a nice person, and I understand that you have big feelings, but maybe you should just focus on being happy. And this is why Trump is great. Yeah.
I wish somebody told me that before. I didn't know that was the answer.
This is why I don't pick up vacation friends, Lauren.
We are dealing with political depression, and the answer was right there all along. We just need to smile more.
And honestly, we're all smiling, and we're great. Great.
And if you meet me, I think like the big takeaway is that I am a miserable person who is not happy and never smiles. Like that's the. So I just need to work on it.
He was deceived by your smile. He's like, oh wait, no, you need more smile. More smile.
I don't. If there was more smile, there would be nothing left on my face. Like it would just be.
That is great. I will say you will be surprised, but there's tons of people in Madrid who support Donald Trump, and
Wow.
surprisingly, many of them, Madrid is now considered to be the kind of like the Miami of Europe. You have lots of people from Latin America moving to Madrid. They are also buying a lot of property. Lots of rich people from Venezuela, Mexico, Argentina. And they're buying a lot of property here. And many of those people, they vote whatever is on the right? Because these are people who have come here escaping Chavismo in Venezuela or Kirchnerismo or Peronism in Argentina. So when they come here, they try to be as far right as possible. So you would be surprised to see how many people from Latin America here are just openly, very proudly pro-Trump, because they say that anything to the left of Trump is communism or whatever sort of a system that we're living under in Latin America.
It's interesting because obviously we're also having housing issues here in Portugal, which is affecting local residents, particularly in Lisbon. Airbnb and other short-term operators have all but not been kicked out, but there's been a lot of regulations now around that. But even with those new regulations, housing is still incredibly unaffordable, purchasing unaffordable. And so, that's something that is a commonality, I think, that we're seeing in every country. And it's the far right that takes advantage of that and points in the direction of immigrants and says the reason your housing is high is because of these people who are coming in. And I think it's really interesting that Donald Trump has the opportunity to sign a bipartisan bill in the United States to keep corporate entities from being able to buy up single family homes. And instead of signing that, he's holding that bipartisan bill, I'd like to say again, hostage, so that he can try to get the SAVE Act, a voter suppression bill, signed. That nobody wants that. Nobody wants it.
No.
Everybody wants affordable housing.
And that it reminds me of what he did with the immigration bill. There was a bipartisan, comprehensive immigration bill that he killed. He had Republicans kill it specifically so that he would have an issue to run on and to galvanize people and to have a villain that they can create. Because if you can say, hey, it's their fault, it's not my fault, I didn't do it, it's that person's fault, then you can pivot and not take accountability and continue to run roughshod over the Constitution, which is what we're seeing happen right now.
I'm so glad you have that kind of memory, that you were able to pull that out, because they're so good at spinning and spinning and spinning that we forget often things that happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you're 100% spot on. And that's why this show is so important, everyone, because Lauren has a good memory. And
absolutely. I mean, we are so bombarded by well, it's what Steve Bannon used to say, right? I mean, that's the way to distract us all. I mean, you create one controversy after the next, and we are not able to focus on just one. It's kind of like a shock and awe with information. There's just so much going on that we can't react to all of it, and that's how they get away with it.
Yeah, but they will not get away with it. Shifting a little bit, because I do want to talk about the World Cup, because
damn it.
Sorry.
I have to stay up until 2 in the morning tonight to watch my country play in a World Cup I couldn't care less about. So
wait, what time is the game? And Spain's playing who?
It's 2 in the morning. We're playing against Uruguay.
Oh, so it's 2 in the morning for you. I think it's going to be, I think you're 2 hours ahead of me, or you're an hour ahead.
It's 4:30 p.m. right now. I think it's just 1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. So I'll probably stay up to watch that. I did not stay up to watch the US play last night. Lauren, did you?
It was sort of on in the background as I was doing some other stuff. I have a soccer child. I have a child who is, I have an 11-year-old with a Zinedine Zidane jersey, like full kit, actually.
Wow.
It's aggressive.
Does he
He's
know about the headbutt? Was he around? Wait, I'm sorry. Is Zidane? Is this the child of Zidane, not the father?
Oh
the
no,
original
it's
Zidane?
no, it's
It's the actual Zidane.
yeah, yeah.
Don't ask me how I know that, but it is.
But my kiddo he's a keeper, and it is life.
That's a goalkeeper for people who don't know. It's the person with the gloves who stands at the end. And
I didn't know. So
and it depends on the day. Sometimes it's football and sometimes it's soccer in our house, because I also have a child who plays American football, so it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
I saw I Show Speed refer to it as European football.
Oh no!
It was bold, very bold of him.
Wow,
that is bold. Yes.
Wow.
But he's a big influencer. He has millions of followers. Didn't know who Mamdani was when he was sitting next to him at one of the World Cup games. But yes, he's rebranded it as European football.
That's some colonizer behavior right there.
Oh my God.
I do not know the origin of why it's called what, but what I do know is this is an opportunity on the world stage for fans, players to exhibit the best and the worst of themselves. You have a player, Adrian. I say you. Do you say we for the Spain team? Like when you talk about Spain, do you say we?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
You have a player, I believe, Lamine Yamal.
Lamine Yamal.
Yamal.
Lamine Yamal.
Who is
sweetest kid in the world.
He's nice. He's considered one of the best players, right?
Yes. And he's super young. I think he's like 18, 19. He started playing when he was 16 and he won the Euro Cup when he was 16. He's like, he's right up there with Messi. So he has a bright future ahead of him.
And it seems like some Spanish fans have negative reactions towards him when he exhibits behavior that they don't feel is Spanish enough. For example, the way he celebrated his goal. Is this stuff just noise? Is it just internet noise, Adrian? Or are people...
It is the worst of the worst, floating to the top thanks to the toxic algorithm that we are hostage by. Yes, there are people who continue to diss Lamine Yamal and not just him, but other people who happen to be Muslim or of North African heritage. But first of all, I'm pretty sure you can tell who those people vote for. And second of all, it's not the majority. There's tons of people here who love Lamine Yamal. He is a source of pride. He was born in Spain and he grew up here. He's as Spanish as they come. I mean, he's probably more Spanish than I am. I spent half my life outside of Spain. And he's right now, I think it's good to see him as this sort of like football/soccer hero. And yes, I've seen the articles all over the place. I think that they're all part of this sort of anti-European propaganda that is being shared all over social media, where they're trying to portray Europe as this sort of like extremely unsafe, dangerous region that's fallen to Sharia law, and everyone is forced to be Muslim now, and that kind of rhetoric that is just so toxic, and it's everywhere. I mean, I'm tired of talking to people who are in South America and who are like, aren't you afraid to go out into the streets? It's so dangerous. It's like, I guess that the only thing that we can do, especially when it comes to social media, is just combat that with the truth.
Thank you for pointing that out, that it is probably propaganda and that it's being purposely spread, disinformation, because on the flip side, I keep seeing this campaign about all of the Europeans who are enjoying America so much and Buckabees this. And
it's the same thing.
And
it's
I was
the exact same thing. And the thing
is coordinated.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, the White House posted something about that today. about like, oh, people. First of all, there's this sort of like narrative where they're saying they are lying to you, or they were lying to Europeans. Who's they? It's like they're lying to Europeans about the U.S. and about Americans. Like, who's they? Who's lying? Who's doing the lying, right? Because they're saying that the media was lying, and I think, well, that's a false equivalence, because the fact that the media criticizes Donald Trump doesn't mean that Americans are bad people, or that they're rude or uneducated, or like, the U.S. has problems like any other major country in the world. But this sort of like anti-European campaign and anti-American campaign, they appeared at the same time, and it does feel coordinated. So I'm very intrigued as to what exactly they mean when they say they. Who's really they? There's also the concept of Euro poor, which appeared like a year ago or 2 years ago, where it's oh, if you live in Europe, you're poor, unlike in the US where everybody's rich. And I'm like, well, is that?
I was like, we can't afford healthcare in the U.S.
But the thing is that those things really do have an effect, and especially like if you look into the manosphere and all this sort of like get rich quick schemes with these the influencers and the looks maxers and all those, they really do sell the idea that the US is the land of the free, where you just go there and you will become rich, because that's what everybody does, while in Europe it's the land of regulation and everybody's poor. So these sort of narratives, which are very, very coordinated, I'm very interested in understanding where they come from.
I just had the most fascinating conversation the other day. It was organic the way that it developed, but it was intergenerational. It was myself and a friend, and then the friend's father, and then the friend's nephew, who's 22. And so we had this cross section of timeline, and the 22-year-old was saying things that were very much in line with that manosphere, not quite as aggressively looks maxing as clavicular with the I don't know if everybody is aware of this clavicular character and how he
I am very
hammers and breaks his bone.
To get the cheekbones that I just have naturally, thank you.
Yeah. It's the boxing and the hydration and the genetics. So he was saying things to that effect that were echoes of that kind of world. But then he would also say things that were anti-Trump and a little progressive. So it was this very strange overlap. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we had my friend's dad, who you could tell was just really trying to overcome these antiquated beliefs and other sort of societal norms that he grew up with, and is actively working on deconstructing those patterns. So it was just a very interesting place to be sitting. But my friend and I got rather heated when the topic of women's rights came up, and there was a statement made that the oppressed people in any group that is being oppressed needs to fight for their own liberation, because the oppressors will not fight to liberate the people that they are oppressing. And the way that it was worded, like, yes, that is historically accurate, but also it shouldn't be that way. That is not the way that it shouldn't fall on the shoulders of the people who are already operating at a disadvantage. So it was just the most, I mean, this was an hours and hours long conversation, but you could almost like feel the heat wafting off of us as we were.
Well, it's also not entirely historically accurate. You have John Brown, you have Charles Sumner, an abolitionist. You have the original Cassius Clay, an abolitionist. And so there have been plenty of allies who've worked alongside marginalized and oppressed communities to fight for liberation throughout time, and to try to create some sort of narrative that that's not the case is really just a way to disempower communities and to disempower us. Like, when it all comes down to it, if you are not of the royal elite landlord class, and I don't mean like you have a 2-flat in Brooklyn that you're renting out in order to be able to cover your mortgage. I mean, like, you have buildings upon buildings and land upon land. Guess what? You're part of the working class. And so that means, like, complete and total solidarity, intersectionality is the only thing that's going to eventually lead to a life that people aren't trying to escape from in 1 week or 2 weeks of vacation if you're in the US, or I don't know, 2 months if you're in Europe, because that's how much everybody seems to get here. Rant over.
I'm fascinated about where this narrative is coming from, because I don't think that he came up with it on his own. I think that this is something that's developed through conversation and through, is it coming out of a podcast? Is it a Joe Rogan line? I am fascinated by that, but I think it makes perfect sense, Maya, that it is a narrative that's being put out there specifically to disempower allyship and to sort of take the onus off of people who are acting in a place of as allies, as accomplices. I think I haven't been able to stop thinking about that entire interaction for a while, and I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Speaking of allies, unlikely ally, and I guess we have to wrap with this because we're running out of time. Unlikely ally, FIFA has given the go-ahead to continue the Pride match in Seattle as planned. Iran and Egypt outraged. But it was already planned to be a Pride match. It just happened to be that Iran and Egypt were ended up being scheduled. I don't know how that piece of things worked. Is that surprising to you, Adrian, that FIFA, of all, World Peace Prize to Trump?
Look,
FIFA?
it's getting to a point where we're actually praising FIFA for doing nothing. I mean, that's how bad it is, because these are the guys who gave Donald Trump a peace prize. Okay, so I hate FIFA with a passion. I hate the current people at the top of FIFA. I think Gianni Infantino is just a shameful individual. Whenever he talks about, obviously everything is driven by money, right? It's profit. It's why suddenly now you have hydration breaks in like football games, which is something that has never happened before in the history of the World Cup. I don't know if you've seen this.
To be fair, Adrian, shouldn't we be hydrated? Tell people why they should be angry about the hydration break. I use it as a time to get snacks, personally.
Yes, that is true. But these are, world-class athletes who are getting paid millions to run 90 minutes. So no one's ever died from dehydration in a World Cup before, and now suddenly we need to pause the game every 22 minutes because otherwise these delicate geniuses are gonna be dehydrated, which is just not how the world works. So
they lose a lot of water when they throw themselves onto the pitch. Okay,
it's just everything is just so shameful. I suffer from. I always say that I suffer from FAS, which is football avoidance syndrome. You talk to me about football or soccer and I just don't care. And I'm not listening to you. My mind wanders off. So whatever you said, I wasn't paying attention. But I do hate, it's not that I hate the sport itself. I just don't care about football or soccer. And anyway, but I do hate the whole culture around it and how corrupt it is and how people who I think are very smart and have, always fight for these great causes, suddenly the World Cup comes and like, well, I'm going to put my beliefs and my morals on pause because I love football so much that I can not criticize this. So that's the one thing that really pisses me off. Otherwise, it's a great thing.
Can we say that same statement about, I feel that same way about the NFL. I feel that way about really any even college sports too. I just think that they are rooted in exploitation of the athletes, and also I find that people are able to disengage from real life and focus just on sports conversations in such a narrow way that they lose the ability to even process any other type of conversation or what's going on in the world. And I love going to a game. I love watching my kids play. I love occasion for the experience of it, but the culture around it, even the sound of the TV as they're yelling and everybody like, what are we? It's a ball. We're really that fired up about a ball. Like I don't have I'm not built that way. So thank you for saying that, because Adrian, I thought you were here as like the football expert, man.
Oh God, no. What?
I think I might be the one who has to explain offsides
Yes.
in this
No,
conversation.
you too will have to explain me, because I have no idea. And I don't care. I mean, you can try
I still don't
explaining it to
know.
me. I will not learn anything.
So at the time that the ball leaves the player's foot, at the exact point in time,
I am lost already.
and now they can even, there's a sensor in the ball, so they can actually check when it's been tapped. The opponent cannot be further than the defender, like closer to the goal. Like you can't be ahead of, and that I'm almost 99.9% sure is how you explain offsides. I'm just realizing, am I the only person who's like this? Am I the sports person in this conversation? That's so funny.
Yes.
I was voted most athletic in 6th grade. So, I was supposed to be an athlete, and I ended up doing whatever the fuck it is that I'm doing now.
I was voted best smile and most easily embarrassed. And those things are still true today.
I was never picked to play football when I was in high school because I was so bad at it. So maybe that explains why I hate it so much. But yeah.
I believe in you, Adrian.
I don't. I suck at it. Like, it's true. It's really bad.
Amazing. I'm so glad that we can have this conversation. Last thing before we sign off.
Are
Lauren,
we talking about Taylor?
Yes, of course. Exactly. Go.
As the resident recovering Swiftie. And also, this is super in my wheelhouse because I did attend the Eras tour. I do love a lot of her work, but also I have a bone to pick with her because she's a very litigious artist and has not filed any sort of legal paperwork to get the Trump administration to stop using her music in some of their social media. So that was kind of a line for me. She's not been in my rotation. But also, as a former wedding planner, if I were planning a globally famous, iconic couple, if I were planning their wedding, I would probably set up some sort of very public diversion, because I would want people to think, oh, it's definitely happening here. And then I would do it somewhere else, because if I were planning that wedding, I don't think I would want it to take place at Madison Square Garden 4th of July weekend. And if it does, okay, cool, good for them. But if it doesn't, it makes sense from a diversion standpoint. But also, what a diversion to file permits and displace how many New Yorkers. It's an interesting strategy. I will note that her home in Rhode Island has been set up with a tent that, from my view, could easily hold 250 people in the dance floor.
Wow.
Just a note. I don't know. This is pure speculation. There was speculation a couple months ago or a month ago that a friend of mine was hired as their wedding designer. I never reached out to see if that was true. I didn't think it was because of some of the wording of the article. But he might be involved in some capacity. I'll be excited to see if that is, because I know the world I came from luxury weddings. I'm going to know the names of the people who are involved, and I might even know them personally. So just a very weird overlap to watch unfold. But
the wedding planner has spoken, and honestly, you being in New York right now, I feel like the rumors are going to start flying. How do we know you didn't sign an NDA, and you very well could be planning
coming out of retirement. Could you imagine?
Happy Friday, y'all. It is
Happy
the weekend.
Friday.
And I just want to sign off by, I know we've had a lot of fun in this episode, but please keep the people of Venezuela in your hearts and minds. If you have the ability to donate, there is an organization out of Florida that I realized I should have pulled that up ahead of time. That you can,
but we can put that in. We can put that in the show notes or in a comment on our posts, so people can support.
We will do that because they are already, they were immediately deploying people on the ground and getting supplies sent there. So please, again, keep them in your hearts and keep fighting the good fight because we have no choice, y'all. So that's what we're going to do.
And we will not be back before the end of June. So happy Pride.
Oh, happy Pride.
Happy Pride indeed. Cool. I will be celebrating Pride next weekend here. Biggest Pride in Europe. So if any of you want to come visit in Madrid, expect more than 2 million people this year. So
I love it.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of people. I don't know where that, I maybe pop on over.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe, hey, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Maybe I need to.
Exactly.
I'll
be here.
Great talking to you guys today.
Happy Friday, guys.
Happy